G'day. Okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about free will and faith. Free will and faith. Now, in the geometric structures, in the language of mind, the language of thought, geometrical thought harmonics, what do we regard as free will? Free will is, I suppose a lot of us think it's being able to do what we want, when we want, to make our own choices. Free will, choice-based. Making choices, not being controlled. Okay, now the geometric structure of free will. Free will is a product, a geometrical product, of 5 icosahedrons of will. Now, an icosahedron had 20 equilateral triangle external facets, 12 points. Those points were the points of pentagon-based pyramids of desire. It's an expression of desire or an expression of wishes. In essence, it is a physically and mentally creative expression of mental motivation. Okay, expression of desire. Now, free will is formed by 5. If you take one of those icosahedrons, give it a vortex point, a center point within that icosahedral structure, and then add 4 more rotated around that same vortex center, it creates the 60 points of the geometric structure of free will. So it's a product of will. In essence, free will, obviously, will is a product of will. Okay, but when those 5 icosahedrons form those 60 points of that structure, it forms emotional decagon planes. Emotional decagon planes. In other words, as we've spoken before, emotional planes are center dissecting. They form more or less equators, not just one equator as it divides a sphere in half, but many equators. So it's not polar. Okay, so it creates 6 emotional decagon planes of belief or choice. Obviously, free will, as we said, choice. So it is a geometric structure that aligns with that. Emotional decagon planes of belief or choice. Okay, so free will is belief-based, and a belief-based expression of will. An expression of will, because emotion is suggestive. So emotional belief is suggestive. So it's a product or expression of desire suggested by belief or choice. Suggested by belief or choice. Product of will suggested by belief or choice. Choice-based will. Belief-based will. Okay. Now, faith. Faith expands upon free will. It's still a product of free will, faith, but it expands upon it. It adds an extra icosahedron of will to make 6 icosahedrons of will. Now those 6 icosahedrons, when they're combined, form 72 points, 6 12s, 72 points, a 72-point geometric sphere. Again, it's a product of will, an expression of desire, but those icosahedrons, the edges of those icosahedrons form diagonals of squares, 2 overlapping edges, 2 icosahedrons merging together rotating their edges around to form the diagonals of squares. So it forms intellect agreements of will. Okay, will agreements. Forms intellectual will agreements. Will is receptive and constructive, takes on board and builds upon concepts. Okay, receptive and constructive. So will becomes receptive and constructive. Okay, now those emotional belief planes, emotional decagon planes of belief or choice that free will had, faith has the same ones. But what it forms is belief-based feeling. So it has the emotional belief, emotional decagon planes of belief, but it also forms emotional squares of intellect, center dissecting squares of intellect, emotional intelligence, but expressions of emotional intelligence to form feeling. Feeling is an expression of emotional intelligence. Okay, so faith is a product of belief-based feeling, a belief-based expression of emotional intelligence. Belief-based feeling suggests belief-based behavior. So it forms belief-based behavior. Now, what's belief-based behavior? Trust. Trust is belief-based behavior, a belief-based expression of emotional intelligence. Trust, belief-based feeling, belief-based behavior. So faith is a product of will suggested by trust. It's trust-based will. Trust-based will, that's faith. Trust-based will. Belief-based feeling, belief-based behavior. Okay, now neither of those geometric structures have any center point hexagons of awareness. They're not products of awareness at all. They're products of belief and will. Expressions of desire, suggested by belief, and faith is also suggested by intellect. Feeling, belief-based feeling, trust-based will. Nothing to do with awareness. Simply belief-based. Expressions of desire suggested by belief. That's free will. Faith suggested by trust. Belief-based feeling. Belief-based behavior. So in essence, faith is still free will. It's free will-based behavior. Okay, free will was an expression of desire suggested by belief or choice. Faith is free will-based behavior. Free will-based behavior. Okay, so in reality, what have we done with free will and faith? Do as you please when you want, stuff everybody else. Faith. We have more or less, religions really took on board, stole faith, actually. They started to use faith for their own purposes. Faith in a God, faith in an imagined superintelligence, divine essence. There's many names. So that faith now is recognised as a religious trait, state of mind. You know, oh, do you have faith? Have faith. It simply means have faith in a God, divine guidance, all sort of stuff. But it's not. It has nothing to do with gods. Faith is simply trust-based will. You can have faith in yourself. You can have faith in a doctor. You can have faith in somebody's skills. You know, I have faith. Oh, don't worry, you'll do a good job. I have faith in you. See, faith. Faith, nothing to do with gods, nothing to do with religion. It's just trust-based will. A trust-based expression of desire, an expression of wishes. A trust-based expression of wishes. That's faith. Like I said, we need to stop relating everything to religion. I'm not a God worshipper, I'll have to admit. I used to be when I first began this journey. I was brought up to be a believer in a God. But through my research, through my years of looking within myself, meditation, intuitive guidance, I realised that that they just didn't make any sense to believe in something that you can't prove. It's not just that you can't prove it. That there's no common sense base to a God that you can't see. It's simply the mind in all of the questions that it asked when Pure Potential became aware of itself and formed a mind and asked questions about itself, assessing itself. What am I? Where am I? How did I come about? What created me? The mind in its state, a juvenile state, with very limited awareness of what it is, where it is, how it came about, asking all sorts of questions. And because we have an innate ability to visualize our thoughts into a dream state, that's what we do. We visualize our thoughts into a dream state. It's the mind dreaming, Pure Potential dreaming, the dream of mind, a visualization of thoughts. That's what life is, a visualization of thoughts, as we've spoken before. So, like I said, faith, it's just, you can have faith in all sorts of stuff. But like I said, it is belief-based. Now, belief is a declaration of personal preference. That's what choice is, a declaration of personal preference, same thing. It's preferentiality. It's choosing to accept something as true without evidence or proof. It's just choosing to accept something as true. That's belief. So that's nothing to do with facts. It's motive-based, actually. We form beliefs through our conscious experiences, experiential consciousness. Form beliefs through our conscious experience. But we can have all sorts of conscious experiences. And we can think, oh, well, yeah, I believe in that. Oh, I believe in this. Yeah, that must be true. No, we prefer it to be true. It's a preference. It's nothing to do with the truth. So, free will and faith. Like I said, free will, it's a disaster waiting to happen, actually. Everyone says, oh, I want free will. Oh, it's important. Most important thing, having free will. Make our own choices. Oh, what a lot of rubbish. Free will's fine if you live on a planet by yourself. Do what you want, when you want. Doesn't affect anybody else but you. That's fine. All good. You be. But when you form groups, societies, communities, you can't do what you want when you want. You just can't do it. It's going to cause all sorts of chaos and conflict. Everyone doing what they want when they want and bumping into each other, stepping on each other's toes. It's not going to work. You can't have free will within a society or a community. You just can't have it. You can make choices Yes, but not to the point of what we call free will. It's just an expression of desire based on choices suggested by your belief systems, your preferences, your personal preferences. An expression of desire suggested by your personal preferences. Well, I said we have to draw a line somewhere if we want to have some sort of balance, harmony within a social group. You must have guidelines. Guidelines of, probably not a good idea to do that. You've got to consider the group. It's just how it is. You just have to consider all of the other parts of that society, members of that society, that community, that group. That's just how it is. And faith, like I said, it's not much better than free will. There's still no awareness involved with faith. It's not love-based. Faith isn't love-based. It has no hexagons or center point hexagons within its geometric structure. Now, that's what I said before. Geometry is the perfect way to actually assess and define the structures of the mind. Because when you analyze all of the different planes, facets, designs of thought within that structure, what you see is what you get. If it hasn't got those particular designs of thought within that structure, then it doesn't have them. So faith has nothing to do with love, has nothing to do with awareness. It's just belief and emotional intelligence. Suggestive. Free will. Suggestive. Faith is suggestive. Suggest trust. Like I said, trust. It's all based on our experiences, our conscious experiences, on how we define trust and what we think we can trust and what we don't trust. It's motive regulated. It's motive based. Personal thought, personal preferences. Faith has caused a lot of problems in this world. Only when it's been attached to religions. Because all these people having faith that a God's going to protect them, that a God's going to help them. People go to war, they pray to God. Have faith in God. God will get you through this. You'll be able to kill all your enemies. Yippee. We'll be safe. We'll slaughter the friggin' hell out of them. It's a bit sad, actually. A bit sad. Even people's religions, it goes that sort of behaviour goes against the basis of any religion. I know we need to protect ourselves and all sort of stuff, but you don't go praying to your God to help you kill everybody. But not just that, people do it in sports. They pray to God, help me to win this game. Competition, help me to compete, to be better than everybody else. Again, that's not what it's all about. Trying to prove yourself to be better or more entitled than everybody else. Hierarchical privilege and dominance. Wanting to prove yourself better than somebody else to get the rewards and awards and rewards. Self-esteem, yay, entitlement, yippee. So that's free will and faith. They're both disasters waiting to happen if they're not applied correctly. And if you more or less use free will and faith in the wrong context, like I said, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. It's just choice. It's just personal preference. Nothing to do with facts, nothing to do with love, nothing to do with awareness. It's just personal preference. Okay, so now what do we want to add to that? Now that I've probably upset a lot of people. That's not my intention. I studied geometry in relation to the mind, designs of thought, traits, behaviours of the mind. It's a scientific endeavour. You look at what you've got, what's available to you, all the designs. It's like an alphabet. Now you use an alphabet to create words and sentences to document your thoughts. Well, geometry is exactly the same. It documents our thoughts, designs of thought, behaviours, designs of thought. Thought is a response to or an opinion of an environment. A response to or an opinion of an environment. That's what thought is. Energy. Everything's energy. Everything is purposed energy that we are aware of in the dream of life. Purposed energy, purposed thought. Designs of energy, energy by design. All energy. Visualized thoughts. Virtualized environmental construct of mind. Interactive visualization. Visualized thoughts. Visualized thoughts. Okay. We'll make that a short one because that's all we're talking about here is the geometric structure in the language of thought, the language of mind. Just because when you look in the dictionary and you look up words like that, faith, free will, all that sort of stuff, it gives you all of these definitions that are all over the place. Most of them contradict one another. So it gives you a whole lot of or a few different definitions, and you choose which one sounds right for you. But quite often those few definitions are totally contradictory. But you simply choose what you prefer. That's what choice is, a preference, personal preference. Whichever one sounds good to you in your particular situation. Oh yeah, that sounds all right for me. Oh yeah, I think that sounds pretty good for this particular subject. I started doing all that stuff with dictionaries, and like I said, it's just all over the place. It's a state of confusion. The only way to totally understand the true definition of traits, behaviours, mind states, is to look at the geometry that actually defines them, the language that actually reflects those particular states of mind. That's what geometry is there for us to understand our own thoughts, to understand the dream, all the different designs of thought that manifest the dream that we call life. Okay, we'll leave it at that. I hope someone got something from it, and we'll catch up